Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another Adobe Live. To everyone's delight, we're here every day with UK creatives. And today we really wanted to focus on taking time for yourself, recharging the batteries. So we're almost halfway through the year and we still wanted to feel good and energized. And we're bringing this idea of art therapy to the session with Hazel, our lovely guest. Hi Hazel,
Hello.
how are you doing?
Hello Hazel.
I'm good. Lovely to join you. Thank you for having me. So yes, I'm so happy to be here.
Super excited. And of course we have Rufus coming back as well, dipping into our Adobe Live world.
Yeah, I'm swinging by, and saying hi and like checking on the community. I see the chat is already very, very busy here. Thank you all for joining, our daily live streams that we've started. What number is this live stream, Emma?
28, 29, we're just hitting the big numbers.
29, yeah, stream 29 from the sofa, live from,
our homes.
Berlin, London, Florence.
So international.
Anyway, so international. So welcome to the chat, and yeah, so great to see you all active here.
We're back, excited. Hazel, we were just saying before the stream that you look so comfy and you're all set up and ready to go for today's session, just lying on the floor, and I love that.
Yeah, I find it such a creative space. Like sometimes I'll work at a desk, sofa, but sometimes I'll just be here on the floor, and I thought that would be a great place to join you today. I just got my cushions down, got my iPad set up, ready to draw.
We're gonna change the title to the streams to Live from the Floor. Yes,
definitely. I recommend it to everyone. Just try it once. You feel much more playful.
Thanks for the rebranding. But Hazel, you're one of the artists who has partnered up with us to create coloring in templates, which Adobe has just kickstarted. And Tim will share the great link in the chat as well, so you guys can have a look. But tell us a little bit more about the campaign and how you got involved, the big story.
Yeah, so I found an email from Adobe in my inbox asking whether I wanted to be part of this digital colouring campaign for mindfulness. And I thought, oh, what a great campaign, especially right now, colouring in is just the thing to do. And so I wanted to come up with 3 different colouring sheets that had different angles to them. So the first one, which I've taken a few things out and I'm going to be redrawing them in this session, just to show you how you can create your own colouring sheet. And the first one's called Boredom Bingo. And lots of people were saying about how there wasn't too much to do during lockdown. And I kind of wrote a list of all the things I wanted to do, all the things I could do. And I realized there's so much you can do. So the idea with this colouring sheet is that you can kind of colour them in as you tick them off, as you do the activities. And then I did one which was a reading list. So it was just my fireplace with a bookshelf on top. And yeah, I kind of recommended my favourite books. And then the third one, which I'm going to go through today as well, was just called Greek Gods at Play. So I just did this really fun scene. I'm really into Greek mythology at the moment. So that was my inspiration. And it's just some gods chillaxing on some clouds and throwing the planets around. So that was my inspiration.
Lovely. Sounds like we have a lot to cover. You were super excited. Rufus, you were going to say.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask, where can we find more about you? Like, do you have like an Instagram or a Behance profile, whatever, that, where we can see, some of your other work?
So I still need to set up a Behance profile, so maybe I'll do that this week. But you can mainly find me on Instagram. So my handle is @hazel.mead, where you'll see I'm releasing the colouring sheets as well as all the other kinds of commissions and personal pieces that I do.
Yeah. And thankfully, you opened that email from Adobe. Like I've had people on the stream that that got emails. Now there was this one story of I can't remember, like where they didn't open the email because they thought it was spam, and then it was a really good project. Like yeah.
Oh no,
to be true.
But I have a similar story, but we won't go into that yet.
Yet. That means you're saving it for later, though.
Maybe we can
a bit
revisit.
later in the stream. Revisit. Yeah, but I wanted to, I mean, Rufus has a great point as well. I mean, you have tons of work as well to show, and you've had a lot of amazing projects. And I know that, you know, moving society forward is a really important topic for you, and you've touched on, you know, feminist and political slant as well. So can you tell us a bit more about, you know, yeah, what drives your work and your passion and those different projects?
Yeah, so I think back in uni, I found a passion for making pieces that had a bit of a point to them, or making people think about society and the world and how they live their lives. But when I left uni, you know, trying to make it as a freelance illustrator, it's quite difficult to make it to begin with. And I found myself in a really strange, tiny, wonderful niche of illustrating women's periods. And I found myself with charities that were promoting period positivity, trying to end period poverty. And I found myself in that niche. And then gradually I widened out, brought it into, feminism, social issues. And now, just happy to take on any and every commission that comes my way, if I can manage it.
Yeah, so it sounds like the different topics you kind of touch on are, you know, gender, technology, identity, and, you know, generally empowering women as well, as part of your work.
Yeah, specifically things that perhaps I would have liked to have seen growing up as a child, things that I've been missing. So I have a lot about sex education and eliminating shame around things like periods, female masturbation, all sorts. So do check out my Instagram, that you'll be in for a surprise.
And drawing has been a natural kind of way for you to express that, or how did you get into that world?
Drawing, I just knew since the age of 6 that was what I wanted to do. I was quite lucky in that was all I knew how to do, and I was just determined to make it happen. So I went through school studying fine art. I started off as an oil painter. So Fresco is the perfect tool for me to demonstrate how you can still oil paint digitally. And then went to uni, did fine art and illustration, and moved more towards illustration, and then discovered digital illustration.
Brilliant. I know you had loads of exciting things to show on Fresco, so I'm really excited for that, and how you paint and brought that to the digital world. So you have your iPad level set up, I know, to get going today and illustrating. So what are we starting with, and what do you have to bring up for the coloring sheets? Tell us more.
So we're going to start with boredom bingo, and just want to show you how I've created this colouring sheet. So here's one I've made earlier, but I've taken out a couple of components. So would it be helpful to go through the whole process of just opening the document, or should I go straight in?
Go straight in. It's great. You have it all set up. I'm happy to see. Yeah.
Okay. So this is Fresco. It's really intuitive. I've had it for maybe 3 weeks, I think. And so I usually use a Wacom and Photoshop. But it's been quite easy to make the transition, just drawing onto an iPad. So I'm using an iPad Pro and the 2nd generation pencil, for anyone that is wondering. So these are some of the activities I've drawn already, and I'm just gonna go ahead and continue creating the colouring sheet. And so you see at the side, I'm always use Pixel, so I'm just going to use this hard round Pixel brush. So these are my favorited brushes already. I've only got 3 so far, but this is what I'm going to go ahead with. And already it's a little bit too big, so I'm just going to change the size of that brush.
Are these actually activities you partake in, or are they just random and inspired to the boredom bingo?
Some of them I'll do, yeah. So I think I coloured one of these in as well to see how many I'd ticked off. And I've ticked off about half of them. So I have actually lit some candles. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw. So I do quite like a sketchy style, and then if it's a bit too sketchy, later I will do another layer and clean up the line work.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. I was muted. Okay. No, Jonathan just said, if you draw, you will never be bored. That's right. Yep.
Ah, I love that. It's so true. I could just draw all day. In fact, I do draw all day.
And Jonathan is loving the idea of the boredom bingo.
And
thank you, Jonathan.
Does the Apple Pencil do the tilt like on a Cintiq, or yeah, it does?
Yeah, it does. I don't know what the best thing to show you is.
Maybe the pencil, because you can do it from the side and from.
There's a pencil.
So many brushes.
I know. Oh my god, we'll get into all the brushes as well.
The really cool thing with Fresco is that you can star your brushes, so you have all of the brushes that you typically need, which are not that many together.
So I just use these three actually mainly, just for some different line textures as well. Or maybe we'll use this one instead. And that's what I'm really experimenting with at the moment as well, because when I was just using the Wacom and Photoshop, I just got in the habit of using the same brushes over and over. So with Fresco, it's quite nice to experiment with the oil brushes specifically, and the watercolor brushes as well. That's another one of my favorites.
And guys, if you're sitting at home, you can follow the link that Tim shared in the chat and just download the coloring sheet. You can see the final result, but no spoilers. Hazel's going to carry us through it, but you can download it. And there's a couple bits as well with Octavia who participated, and we have some great artists involved, so you can find out a little bit more and also share it. So you can share it on Instagram, all your creations. Hashtag Adobe Coloring Book. We'd love to see it.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. A few people have been tagging me in the ones they've colored in already. Some people are printing it out. Some people are using Photoshop to color it in. All sorts.
So Sandrine, the brushes that you have in Photoshop, like the Kyle brushes, for example, they're all transferable to Fresco. Like you can also download them directly from Fresco. The various packs and everything. They're all there, with the exception of just a few that are really, really like Photoshop oriented, which don't work in Fresco yet, but it's very few. And I dare you to find them. Which ones? Because they're
actually, I think I found one, because one of my all-time favorite brushes that I use for everything, specifically backgrounds, I haven't found in Kyle's mega pack, so I think maybe I've found one. I haven't found that it's transferred, but I found a plethora of other ones that I can use instead.
Do you do these coloring books, Emma?
I don't actually, and I've just been looking through the page before this, and I was like, I should, download some of these. I haven't touched Fresco in a while as well, so it's time, get involved.
Oh, definitely.
I think
We're
this
just,
this is something that like started like just a few years ago for adults, right? That it became like a trend.
It is a trend. I've seen so many, just in Waterstones or just your bookshop, so many colouring books, and I keep thinking, I should get round to doing one. But this has been a nice project to get me in the mood for it.
Yeah, it's quite therapeutic, right?
Yeah.
Do you, Rufus?
No, I don't. No.
Need to get on it.
I have a little application on my. I think that the closest thing that I do maybe is, I have an application on my iPad that lets me draw mandalas. So I.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah.
And that I find that very.
Very therapeutic.
Yes. And the other thing I love, are you using something like Paperlike or something on your iPad? Or is it just the glass?
It's just the glass at the moment.
No, if you use something like Paperlike, you also get that scratchy sound like you have on paper. And that is also very soothing and relaxing, to hear that, especially on live streams where the artist, draws and you hear like.
Oh, that's so nice. Oh my God, I'm gonna
ASMR.
invest. Thank you for the tip. So the text, actually I don't do in Fresco. I will export that. I will export the page and then do it in Photoshop. So I'm sure there's probably an easier way of doing that, but I will load it up on my laptop and add the text in afterwards.
Let me get my iPad as well so I can play.
Oh, there you go. I love that.
Do it.
Getting some tools. Everyone's loving the sound. I don't really like the Paperlike either, Hazel. So you don't have to try it. No, I haven't been switching over, but I quite like the glass. I'm happy with that. Non-complicated.
It is. It sounds interesting though, the Paperlike. Maybe I'll give it a go.
Oh, there you go.
Ta-da!
Nice. We're all joining in, so I hope everyone at home is doing the same.
Apple Pencil 0%. No luck.
No, typical.
That was one thing I was really nervous about this morning. Like, is everything charged? Is everything fine?
Oh, well done.
Yeah, it's all good.
So far, yeah.
All good.
And Robert, thanks for the question. Yes, Stephanie is okay. She's just taking a few days off and she will be back very shortly. So thanks for the question, Robert.
We're now making people buy iPads in the chat, so incentive. No, but this is something great for sitting on the plane once we get on planes again. I feel like this is such a nice little long haul activity to have a coloring book.
And you don't need internet for it either. So.
Exactly, and I always get so bored.
So there was a question from Stephen. I've transferred some brushes over to Fresco, but only by copying them individually. Is there a way to transfer en masse? Yes. Basically, you can either put them into libraries or you can go into Fresco itself, and there's a little plus button at the bottom of the brushes panel, and you say get more brushes or import from files. Okay, so if you put all your brushes in in your Creative Cloud files, you can import them like that en masse. Or if you get more brushes, you get to the web page that includes all of the Kyle brushes, and you can import them from there. Super easy.
It is really easy actually. I can show you, and then that little plus there, you can just get more brushes. I love all of Kyle's brushes, so I think I've downloaded them all. I saw a meme the other day that was, let's see if I can translate it into words, but a boy with a massive rucksack on his back, and it said all the brushes I have on my computer, and then a tiny, tiny bag, and it said all the brushes I actually use.
Yeah,
it's so true.
That's right. And you know, the big mistake everyone does, including me, is like, whoa, the mega pack, that sounds cool. And then you download the mega pack and you say, oh my God, where do I start? So
yeah,
my advice is don't download the mega pack. Like download like little subsets of the brushes and like start maybe with, I don't know, the manga brushes or the jitter brushes or whatever, and like try them out like that.
That's a really good tip. Oh, yeah, I downloaded the mega pack all in one go, but I probably use 5 of the brushes out of it, but I use them constantly.
Yes, and Nassim is asking, will this be available for Android drawing tablet? And this is definitely something we're working on. Of course, you know, it's people say, oh, we love Apple better, but the reality is that, you know, developing for iOS and Apple devices is so much simpler because, you know, it has these strict limitations on the size of the screens. We know what we're talking about. As soon as you go into Android, you know, everything changes. You have a gazillion different screen sizes and resolutions and things like that. So there's a lot more quality control to be done on that, and it's a lot of work. So first we test the things like if it works, and basically this whole Fresco thing is also part of a bigger plan that includes, you know, like it's a drawing family, like, you know, and it works together with Photoshop, with Illustrator, and it's a system that we're working on. So I'm sure it will be there eventually. Oh, I thought I was frozen again, but no.
Oh no, you're good.
Freezing yourself. We had this yesterday, Rufus. We need some tech checkup again. Hazel, can you tell us a bit more about some of your favorite projects?
Of all time?
Go on, all time. Yeah, I'll make it tricky.
Oh, okay. Oh God. Well, apart from this great Adobe one,
you don't have to say that. It's fine.
Oh no! I love this one. This was so much fun, especially when I got to color them in as well. Favorite ones.
Yeah.
Well, favorite.
It's not
personal
like £1 for every Adobe you say, you know.
Exactly. Some at-home drinking game.
Damn. All-time favorite projects. I think personal ones. Personal ones happen really quickly, so they're usually just one-off illustrations. But my favorite one of those that I've done is probably, it was called The Bus Stop. So it was a really long one. It was all the things that go on in people's lives, and it was what was it called? You don't know what's going on in people's lives, and then I just drew all these people and like with little speech bubbles or thought bubbles above their head, and all the things they're going through, just waiting at a bus stop. And that one was just a really personal thing because sometimes I'm in coffee shops and I think, I wonder what everyone's going through right now. And yeah, so that was my favorite personal one. And I think a lot of people related to it as well. And it made, I think people said they felt a lot more empathetic towards people after seeing that illustration. So sort of having an impact on the way people view the world, that they're the projects that really mean the most to me as well. And then there was another one that I did with the Vaginismus Network, who is a client I work closely with. And it was about the sex education that we wished we'd had in school. So that was a really cool one to get to work on. But then clients. Yeah, I've worked with quite a few cool clients. Oh no, one of my favorite projects, because it was so different, was one called, I can't remember what the program was, but it was for Netflix, and they needed an illustrator to do all the behind the scenes on. So one of the characters was an artist, and they needed artists to recreate their work. So that was a really cool project to get to work on, because the requests that came through, so the artist had been told to redesign this old-fashioned book but redo it in a new style, but you had to bear in mind that the character didn't like the new style, so she was resentful of this new style, and it was just a lot to take on, but it was really fascinating.
You saw your work in a show. That's quite cool.
For movies is great.
Yeah.
We've had Mina Lima.
I'd love to do more.
Yeah, Mina Lima on one of those Adobe events we had in London, and I found it fascinating that their core business is doing all the graphics for Harry Potter movies and all the franchises, and like everything.
That's so cool.
In books or like newspapers or posters and everything in that world, is being designed. And Mina Lima was really, really inspiring about how to work for an imaginary world and doing graphics that never be out there, really.
It's also something you don't often think about until you're made aware of it, and then suddenly you see all the graphic design and illustration just everywhere, on TV, everything. Who was it? I can't remember her name. Annie someone. She's really famous, but she's a graphic designer for the Grand Budapest Hotel. And she did a talk about how I think someone made a spelling mistake on one of the boxes on the was it Mendel's? The cake boxes.
Yeah.
And there were hundreds and hundreds of these cake boxes. So in the actual film, they had to go through and edit every scene and edit the spelling mistake on every box. Wow.
Yeah, you can do that in post-production, no problem.
And then that one guy is sitting there like, why?
Yeah. But I'd love to do more things like that for film and TV. I get asked to do a lot of sort of promotional things, advertising, bits and bobs. So that's the main thing I get asked to do.
Are you seeing your work printed often, or is it mostly digital?
It's mostly digital, but I'd love to see my work in print a little bit more. Yeah.
What's next? If you're up for a challenge, someone in the chat should actually suggest something to draw.
Ooh, yeah.
Right, guys. What should Hazel do next? Come on.
What else are you doing?
Catherine is saying it looks like illustrative yoga.
How creative the chat is.
Yeah, have a look.
If the first thing I see is a cat, no.
No, exactly. Oh, we have Tim saying a sofa.
A sofa. Okay. Let me
go for the sofa while the others find some ideas.
All right. I'm going to draw a couple more, and then I'm going to switch to a different colouring sheet to show all the cool painterly things.
And we have Stuart saying a squirrel.
A squirrel. Okay. Should I draw a squirrel on the sofa, maybe?
Go on.
Okay. Testing me here.
We're putting you on the spot.
And while you're doing that, James is asking, have you been discovered by clients organically, or was there a strategy with hashtags and things, or things you were trying to achieve and that you did achieve, or was it was there a big master plan? That's the question.
There was a big master plan, but it never worked. So straight out of uni, I decided to do what would you call it? Printing my work and sending it to potential clients. So I always wanted to be an editorial illustration, really. And so I spent that summer out of uni stalking all of the art directors of magazines and newspapers. And then sending mail outs to them. So this was about 3 months out of uni. And yeah, I sent a good couple of hundred and just nothing came back. So that was the initial master plan. I spent quite a bit on it as well. But, you know, young, naive me straight out of uni thinking, oh, I can get anything.
But you know, this is the problem, because that's what they teach you at uni. You know, once you get out there, the world will be yours. And instead of not lowering your expectations, but making sure that you're ready for the world. You know, like, and this is something that really hurts me in my education, is that, you know, like all my teachers were saying, yeah, you know, you get out of here, you're going to become art director within a year and blah, blah, blah. And then this none of us, actually, didn't happen to any of us. It was, suddenly the cold, brutal world.
Yeah, it was hard work. Yes. So yeah, I didn't have any luck there. I was emailing people, I was calling people up. I even went to a couple of the newspapers' offices and tried to get a meeting with them. And I got met with the receptionist. I can't remember what newspaper it was, The Spectator, I think, or something. I don't know why I went there. And then I found the address. I knocked on the door and said, "Hi, can I meet the editor, please?" And then she looked so shocked. She said, "You can't just come in here and ask to speak to the editor. You need an appointment." So I said, "Can I have an appointment, please?" So that didn't work.
Daring. But that's the pure desperation as well. And I think the London community is just so rough. I mean, it is hard to get into there and get your foot in the door. So yeah, good on you for.
But so that didn't really work. But what I did find worked was just going to events that I was interested in, meeting people, and just saying, "Oh, I'm a freelance illustrator." And then I always found that just by meeting people, you know, within a few years, you don't know where that person's going to be. So even a couple of years down the line, those people have got back in touch like, "Oh, I need some illustration now." And then getting kind of known in the communities that you're interested in. So I went to loads of feminist events and met loads of people. And then that was how I got commissions. That was how I got known and built up that connection. And then it was just word of mouth from there. But I've only got maybe one or two things from outreach. Otherwise, it's all people coming to me.
And Sandrine just posted a link to It's Nice That with Annie Atkins.
Yes, Annie Atkins. Thank you. That was it.
And just to remind Michelle, who's asking what you actually studied at university.
Yes, so at university I studied fine art and illustration, and it was a really good course. It was at Coventry University. And they were really business focused. So they said, you should know how to draw already before you come here. We're going to teach you how to make it into a business. So we got all the kind of tax return lessons and all sorts. So it was, it was good. Okay,
and I like how Sandrine put it again. And she said, and always be nice to people, because nice people have nice friends who like to hire nice people. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, definitely. I'm so happy with the clients I get to work with, because they're always just a dream. Like, actually at uni we were told it was going to be more, the world's really harsh, and we had something called Hell Week where they tried to recreate your worst ever meeting that you'd have with a client. Why
would you do that? That sounds so traumatizing.
Oh my god, people cried, people got into a rage and stormed out. It was awful, and I've never had that terrible client experience.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's my attempt at a squirrel on a sofa.
Yes, I hope you're delighted.
Yeah, I'd probably go ahead and neaten that up after. But did you get any other requests?
I think we had an airplane earlier on, but it just doesn't quite fit with a boredom bingo, does it? Unrealistic.
Maybe making paper planes or something.
Yeah.
Eating pizza. And a roaring lion. Up to you.
I love the animals.
Yeah, animal theme, right?
Okay, I'm going to draw one more and then I'm going to switch.
Right. Which one have you picked?
I think I'm going to go for Roaring Lion. Let's redraw him.
Oh, Catherine has a good example, a retro telephone with dial and coiled cable, reminding you to call your friends. Yep. Or family.
Oh, I love that. I've been calling so many people recently. I think this has been what's nice, just reconnecting with.
Do you call them or do you video conference with them?
A mix of both. I call my mum every day. So,
Okay.
yeah. How about you? Are you reaching out to more people since?
Yes,
would you say?
but I feel like we're getting overloaded with Zoom. I feel the first couple of weeks we were just back to back. I was suddenly calling everyone and interested in everyone's lives. And then eventually you're thinking, I never did this before. I still have a life to live. But it's been really nice to get everyone reaching out and checking in as well, right? So you remember who's
Yeah.
and you're doing the same for them, which is great, and making sure that they're doing okay and their family's all right. So it's been a nice phase, but everyone's asking about what it's going to be like after, and eventually how we're all going to be a bit more connected, hopefully.
I'm frankly
Thanks,
getting a little
Momo.
bit annoyed with, like this little pinhole there that I'm looking at,
Yes.
looking at every day. And just, going back to the education part, Jonathan rightly said, typically you're not taught about business or how to use design software effectively, anything about the print process, anything like that. When I was at college, it was all about idea generation, and rightly said, which is fine until you had to work as a designer in real life. Absolutely. And this is the first shock when you have to work with a printer, when you have to work with a client, when you have to work with, I don't know, a web agency or whatever, and have to actually deliver work. And you say, oh, I can't just do nice stuff. I have to think about all that other stuff as well. What?
Yeah. Yeah. What was my biggest shock? No, you know what? I found the opposite. I found I was going into the world expecting it to be really cruel and be really difficult. But I think maybe because I went more down an illustration route than a design route. I think all my friends that went down a design route found that.
Yeah, and it is different because like I have many guests that are illustrators on Adobe Live, and most of the time they were told when they were starting the career, oh no, like at least study graphic design as well, you can make some money with that, but illustration, oh my god, no, like but this thankfully has changed dramatically in the last years.
Yes,
there's so much demand for any type of illustration, so there's really room for everybody to grow, to show their talent, their specific skills and vision, and it's great.
Yeah, it's I hate to say trending more, but I found so many more companies are just really looking for illustration and looking for ways to incorporate it more just in their branding and social media. And maybe it was like that before, but I've just noticed a big increase in the last year or so. So you can make it into a career, everyone that's dubious, I promise. Okay, there we go. That's my attempt at a lion.
That looks amazing. I didn't realize you had been drawing this all the time. You were just chatting away, and then suddenly it's like magic. Yeah, something that people are mentioning in the chat is also getting experience in different fields. There are, Sandrine is saying that she spent another life in the retail business, and that teaches you some other skills that you can bring into, your daily life. And I think that's a really good learning. Sometimes embracing something that might be a tangent to your initial path can bring some good experience and learning. So.
Yeah, so I reached a point where I needed to move out, and I'm just gonna turn all these back on, the ones that I did do. Oh no, maybe not those ones. So yeah, I just wanted to move out, and I just needed money, and I wasn't making enough money just through part-time illustration. So I got a full-time job in social media, and met friends for life there. got different skills sort of in marketing as well, and understanding how to market myself as a brand. So yeah, there's definitely a place for, you know, getting different experiences and different life skills, so there's more to you, just rather than just what you studied and what you got your degree in, for sure.
And we actually have someone asking in the chat about that kind of social media marketing background that you managed to, you know, gather. But did that help you in terms of growing Instagram as a platform? And how important is that for you, connecting with other creators, or what does that bring to you today?
So I think Instagram is just a good place to have your portfolio, and you can just show everything all at once. And so one thing I was always told was, you do your personal projects, and then clients find you through those personal projects, and then they hire you to do the thing that gets you money, and then that gives you more money to do your personal projects again. And I think that's a really nice cycle. And then gradually over time, because all the personal projects I was putting out on my Instagram, then clients saw that they were quite popular, or they had something that people wanted. So then people would be commissioning things that were similar to my personal projects. So now slowly my commissions have become my passions. And that's, so yeah, I'd say definitely use Instagram to show the kinds of work you want to create. And then it will come back, hopefully, when you build it up.
In an ideal world, you have time for your personal projects still, but that loop doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I mean, this month I have no time for personal projects at all, which is a good thing, because, you know, next month I'll have money to do my personal projects. So.
That's it. Now we're going back.
Cycle. So yeah, before we go, I just wanted to. Sorry, Rufus, did you have?
You're going to do some coloring now. Wow, great.
Yes, I just realised the time. I got a bit carried away with the lion.
Time flies. Yeah.
But I did just want to show some of the different brushes and different things available in Fresco, and how you can maybe oil paint, how you would with traditional paints, but take them onto the screen, and it's just so much easier. So you can see I've just coloured in the legs there. Don't know if you can see that. So one thing you can do with digital illustration is you can just play with block colour. Here's my palette.
Is that palette on the drawing that people can download, or?
Oh yeah, sorry. So the idea here was this Greek gods.
Or
yeah, so there's this Greek god scene, and then I thought it'd be a nice idea if people decided what colours they wanted to use first, and then just put those in to the colouring palette, and then only use, a bit of a challenge to people, only use those colours to create the scene. And it's just a nice way of showing a colour palette and then just having it to hand. But I'm not going to do that today, because I want all the colours in the world.
No, that's already a very extended palette. Many illustrators are like starting with a very small palette, like 3 colors, you know, like and gradations of that. So yeah,
yes,
you've been generous on your palette. Yes.
Oh, I have. I struggle to control myself. I love all the colors, and then different shades, different tones. Oh no, that's the wrong layer. What layer do I want? Layer. So one thing you can do is just kind of shade, or just color in block colors with the pixel brushes, and that's quite a nice thing to do, just to do it quickly. But then something that I really like is if you go into the live brushes, and then if you pick oil paint round, you'll be able to see it's got this kind of painterly texture. Are you able to see that on the screen? Okay. Yeah, and it's just got this really nice quality. And I just want to show you how I paint skin usually. So skin isn't just one color. It's kind of made up of cools and warms, and, you know, veins and blood and everything. So I am going to go ahead with, oh no, actually, and this is a really nice thing. You'll see the palette. These are all the colors that I've used already in this picture, and it's remembered them all. So that's perfect. I can just go in with this nice dark purple. And so I would kind of shade. So I'm imagining this is being lit from the top right, I would say. So I'd just go ahead and kind of shade all the bits that are going to be cool. And that's where the shadows are going to be. And then I might add some green as well. And you'll notice that the colours they blend together if you just keep holding your brush down, or you can kind of layer them up if you remove the pen and reapply the pen, just like that. So I'm just doing sort of lots of little taps. And then, so I'm imagining it's going to be quite a warm light hitting the skin. So wherever that light's going to be hitting, I'm going to add some nice warm oranges. What else do I want?
Very soothing. Just watch.
I'm glad. Sorry, I forgot there were people there then. I just got way into it.
2 hours later and she's done the whole thing.
No, I've only got 10 minutes. No,
I love
actually, I'm going to get rid of all that blue.
Oh, are you? This is advantage. I was about to ask you if you're still doing some real oil painting. But I guess this is less of a fast, right? You're just changing your mind.
This is the lovely thing. If it was oil painting and you made loads of mistakes, you'd spend forever trying to rectify that. Whereas digitally, I just use 2 fingers to tap and it just undoes. Yeah, it can undo the whole lot.
Try doing that with real oil paint, you know.
Exactly. And I remember, who was it? I think it was my mum. She said, "But that's cheating." And I said, "No, it's just making use of the tools that are available, and you can create similar effect." So now I've done all the kind of undertones. I'm just going to go in with maybe this color and sort of apply a more skin-like color on top.
Emma, there's a question from Michelle. How do you find all these amazing artists and designers that you've been featuring?
Oh, that's nice, guys.
That's really nice.
I'm glad you're enjoying them. I didn't even see this. You know, it's just, there is so much going on right now, and there are so many amazing artists out there, and it's just been great to see. There's a great network, which is firstly amazing. So, you know, you speak to one person and another one knows someone else, and that's been such a nice little world. And everyone seems to know each other. So you chat to one person and they say, "Yeah, I did see Hazel on live," and then I also know my neighbor, and you're thinking, "Wow, okay, London's a village."
It
and
is.
The rest of the UK, by the way. We did see some, you know, Edinburgh-based artists and all over the place as well. So yeah, we have plenty more coming. So great to hear. There'll be plenty more.
And then
that's so sweet.
We have the sessions with Tony Harmer every Friday, and tomorrow is no exception. Tony will be here to talk about creating interactive documents in InDesign, I think, if I'm correct.
Yes, InDesign.
InDesign.
Oh. InDesign world. Spoilers.
What did you say, Tim? What?
A sneak peek.
Sneak peek. Yeah.
Actually, the sneak peeks are on Discord. This is where we have some real spoilers and giving you a bit of insight on the sessions, but just saying.
That's right. Well, that's a very good point, Emma, because of course the conversation here goes on Discord. And let me just check how many we are there already, because we opened that Discord just a few days ago, and it's fascinating to see. Okay, 25 are online, 72. Yeah, I think we've hit the 100 mark. So there's already 100 creatives from the UK chatting along on Discord, and I think that's a great way to to stay in touch and like to speak, to share information, to ask questions while we're not streaming. So oh, there we go. Tim just posted the link to the Discord. Very well. Discord.gg TBEDMMMZ. No, well, anyway, you find it in the description below the video here. So
yes, Stuart is asking what Discord is. Stuart, where have you been? We've been talking about this. This is a discussion. Yes, it is our little community. You can come in and chat, and there's loads of different channels, and you can meet people, keep up with the news in our little Adobe Live world, and not miss out on anything that's happening. So if you have any extra questions for Hazel or Rufus or I or Stephanie, then we're on there, and we're there to help.
And just one thing that I wanted also to start introducing, this idea that we've been streaming every day, for 28 days now, right?
Yes.
Days.
Wow.
But next Friday, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna.
How dare us?
We're gonna go a long weekend. Okay, so be prepared. Not tomorrow, the week after Friday, we're off.
It's gonna be the May 15th.
Don't blame you.
Yeah.
We're gonna recharge the batteries, the creative batteries, to give you more. But it's happening. But tomorrow is the Tony Harmer show.
Mona saying, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. Yes. This happened also quickly, Emma. You remember, this whole situation suddenly changed our whole world, within days. And we came up with this idea of streaming every day. We do that in Germany, in German, in France, in French, and the UK, in English, of course. But the fact that the fact is we focus on artists who are actually living in the UK, and therefore, focusing on that,
I was going to say, you must have come up with this idea pretty quickly to get it all going 28 days ago.
Yep.
Well, Rufus is always on his toes, ready to launch.
That's right.
Ready to get started. But yes, tomorrow we will be here. So we're talking about the May 15th, but Tony will be back. As Robert said, the Tony Harmer show for Fancy Dress. And I heard Rufus might be participating. I mean, a little bird told me.
Definitely
so many spoiler alerts today. Yeah.
I know. Mona is saying, I don't turn on the TV, I turn on my Behance. Yes, we love that.
Wow.
It's like we're running our own little channel.
So what's happening next Friday? Kirsty is asking, what's happening next Friday? Why are we taking off? Well, Adobe has decided that all employees, all the 20,000 plus employees, get the day off. And I just found that, we should just do it. Let's just take the day off like everybody else in the company. So I think that was a great gift from the company, and I accepted it gladly.
With open arms.
But we've been streaming on Easter Monday, on the Friday before that. We've been streaming on bank holidays. Tomorrow is a bank holiday, right? We're going to be streaming.
Yeah.
So, we're here, except Friday next week.
And if you really miss us, I mean, everything's on replay, so there's no excuse. If you missed a session, there's 30 sessions to catch up on that you can play on the 15th. So
master classes, yes. We have moved Tony Harmer's masterclass to Thursday.
So he will still be there.
Yes. We'll have the Tony Harmer show on Thursday instead of Friday.
You had to disturb his schedule.
Yeah. We're not going anywhere anyway, so you know.
That's true.
Yet.
Staycation.
Staycation. Yeah. And Kirsty, yes, we will be back after that next Friday. Yes, we will. Absolutely.
Jackie's saying much deserved day off.
Thank
it's very
you.
caring community out there, isn't it? Priya's already asking if we do fancy dress on a Thursday. We're breaking rules. This is it. We're throwing everything out the window.
So Jonathan, just that's a good question. Will you keep those up post-lockdown? Yes, of course. So basically, Emma joined us for that very purpose, because we've been doing Adobe live streams from Germany for the past 3 years, maybe. And we thought it was time to focus on UK and France as well. So
yay!
Adobe Live will go on with UK artists, absolutely. Of course, we're thinking about the format. We're thinking about, how does it look after lockdown? Will people have the same amount of time? Is there a better timing? Is there a better day? Is there a better format? We're looking at all kinds of things. But don't you worry, Adobe Live with UK artists is here to stay in one form or the other. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, there are so many things that I've been doing online now, and I just hope they keep up after lockdown. It'd be quite nice to, keep that community.
Yeah, and we have James who's saying that it's been a great kind of source of inspiration every day as well. And for anyone who has creative projects and, you're sitting at home without your commissions, we talked about the Creative Fund yesterday as well, which was a great way to, get a little bit of funding from Adobe. So that's another kind of part of our world that's happening. And we're here to also channel all of this and put it out there into the world. So Live has been a great way to get excited about what's happening at Adobe and hopefully support you guys who are dealing with the situation just like us. So yeah, plenty more hopefully.
So many great comments, and
yes,
I'm taking a whole bunch of screenshots here, Emma.
You are. Oh. Someone has to do it. I'm not on it. Catherine is saying feet up and a glass of vino. This is for you, Rufus, in Italy.
Yes. I live in the Chianti region, so I'm
You
very
do?
well served. Yes.
What a life.
Wow.
Like what Stuart says, indeed, this stream is like a shot in the arm of creativity. Yeah.
In a good way, hopefully.
Yeah, and in a good way. Yeah, hopefully.
I hope so.
This sounds pretty brutal. So aggressive. He's like, no,
Take that.
No creativity.
Take that creativity.
Yes, maybe I completely misread that. I don't know. I read it for my own benefit. Like, oh, nice. Thank you, Stuart. But maybe you meant something completely different. Like.
It's your interpretation.
Exactly.
But then again, he wouldn't be here after 60 minutes of watching. He wouldn't watch.
That's true.
60 minutes.
Oh my God, it is 60 minutes.
He says, haha. Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, just private conversation. Yes, Hazel.
Because I don't know. Now I can't understand if it's haha sarcastically or haha.
Stuart, you stop teasing our Rufus. You're breaking him.
Oh, so quickly though, because I have just seen the time. I wanted to show the time-lapse feature, which I'm just in love with. This is me having a play the other day. But I just get fascinated. I could just watch people's time lapses forever. And it's just a really nice function because I didn't have that when I was just using Wacom and Photoshop. I'd have to load QuickTime and sort of record the screen. I couldn't move because...
That is quite a cool feature,
Yep.
And maybe you can just show again how you did that because
yeah.
because I think there's something super interesting in Adobe Fresco is that it records everything you do, and then if you want, you can create that time lapse.
Yeah, and I think it's just a really nice way of showing people that are interested in your work how you work as well. So it's just this little box with an arrow here, and then publish and export, and then it's just there, time lapse, export, and then you can just play it from the start. But yeah, as I said, I've only really been using Fresco for a few weeks, and I think that just shows how intuitive it is to use. I remember even giving it to my granny to have a go when I had it just in August briefly, and she was able to do it. So I think it's just a really nice piece of software and really easy to use.
Everyone's loving that feature. Thanks, Hazel. I wish we had time to do the whole thing. It would be an amazing time lapse, but we'll have to stop it there and get everyone to
do it on my Instagram later.
Do it. Go ahead. And everyone you can see the rest of the Coloring Book campaign as well on the link that we shared earlier on in the chat. We'll make sure to put that on Discord as well after this. But yeah, join us along, and you can download these for Fresco and Photoshop, and also just print them and go old school if you want. We love that.
Yeah.
Any final words, Hazel? Thanks for inspiring us today.
Thank you for having me. I kind of got lost a bit in just colouring in, which is great.
That's the point. Exactly.
That's the point, right?
Yeah, exactly. And thank you for everyone that gave me inspiration of what to draw, like the lion and the squirrel on the sofa.
You'll have to create another one. Thanks, Hazel. It was great having you, and hopefully see more of you as well. And Rufus, final words before tomorrow?
Well, no, don't forget about our Discord. Tim can post the link one more time. It's a great place to hang out and chat with others from this community. And we'll be seeing you tomorrow for the Tony Harmer Show. Yeah, we've even branded it now, Emma. You see, I think
love it. We're creating as we go. This is great. It's a beautiful world.
Hazel, that was great, super inspiring, and thank you for sharing your time and and your process with us. That was really great.
Thank you. Thanks. See you soon.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. See you all tomorrow for our last stream of the week.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye. Oh, we did it. That wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Oh no, of course.